Good afternoon, dear members of Dissertation Council. Let me introduce you to the permanent members of the Dissertation Council participating in today's thesis defense. Chairman of the Dissertation Council, candidate of law, Professor A.Ғ. Сайрамбаева Жұлдыз, candidate of law, associate professor, deputy chairman, Қуаналиева Гүлдана, doctor of law, professor, member of the council. Алимқұлов Ербол, candidate of law, associate professor, academic secretary. Our temporary members today of the dissertation council, William Said, doctor law, PhD, head of the Department of Cyber Law, Tashkent State University of Law, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Omar Vayman, candidate of legal science, professor at Narcos University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Nurjan Savlen, PhD, head of the research center of the Institute of Parliamentarism, Astana, Kazakhstan. We have a quorum. I propose to start the work of the dissertation council. The agenda. Today we will participate in the thesis defense of Dүйсенқұл А.Ғ. on the topic legal regulation of state electronic service, current problems and ways to improve. According to the educational program 8D04-201 jurisprudence. The dissertation was prepared at the High School of Law of Turan University. Scientific consultants, Osmanova Jamila, candidate of law, associate professor of the Department of Theory and History of State and the Law, Constitutional and Administrative, Al-Farabi, Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Ploskaya Olga, Doctor of Law, Associate Professor, Professor of the Department of Civil Law, Disciplines Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Moscow, Russian Federation. Official reviewers, Ömerhanovich Bakht, Vice Rector for the Internationalization and Strategic Development, Dosmuhamedov Atrau University, PhD in Law, Associate Professor, Atrau, Kazakhstan. Bimoldan Perjan, Deputy Head of the Minister of Internal Affairs, Academy named after Ispolatov, candidate of legal science, Professor. Police Colonel, Almaty, Kazakhstan. The floor is given to the academic secretary of the dissertation council, candidate of law, associate professor Alimqulov Erбол Темирханұлы.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Dear members of the dissertation council, let me introduce Dүйсенқұл А.Ғ. Information. Dүйсенқұл A.Ғ. was born in June 25, 1997 in Almaty, Kazakhstan, Kazakh. Education. In 2017, she graduated from Al-Farabi Kazakh National University with a bachelor in law. In 2019, she earned a master's degree in social science from Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. In 2022, she completed PhD program from Turan University. While doing her bachelor's and master's degree, A.Ғ. participated in a lot of academic activities held by the law faculty of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Earned several certificates in these activities and even went to Italy based on the academic mobility program. The topic of her thesis dissertation is legal regulation of state electronic service, current problem, and a way to improve. She has published 6 articles on the topic. One article was published in journal indexed by Scopus. 5 articles were published in journals recommended by the Committee for Education and the Science of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education for the Republic of Kazakhstan.
Does any have any question? No. Thank you, for the presentation of the main provisions of the dissertation. The floor is given to applicant, please.
Chairman, dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear professors, and all of the attendants. First things first, we would like to thank you all for taking your time to this defense the thesis legal regulation of state electronic services. We are going to put our positions on current problems of legal regulation and the possible ways to solutions, possible ways of solutions and the possible ways of improve our current legislation. And we would like to start from our relevance of the topic. I think there is no doubt that legal regulation and the digitalization is the main topic of the state programs in the one of the most important topics on the of our development in our country. A lot of government programs and a lot of strategic solutions were made on this topic, and we would like to put our efforts and make our own contribution by researching on this theme. So in the context of rapid technological development and the introduction of information technologies in all spheres of the human lives, including public administration, legal regulation becomes more important in human life being and the human working areas and the work on state electronic services. Public electronic services as one of the most important directions of digitalization of government structures make it possible to ensure more prompt and high quality provision of public services, which can be allowed for everybody and everyone. In addition to the urgency of the problem of legal regulation, public relations in the field of public electronic services and information security is due to a significant increase in the role of information security in all spheres and activities of individuals, society, and the state in the context of emergence of new types of threats of an internal and external nature, vulnerabilities, and the development of information legal relations require respect for rights and protection, legitimate interests in the information sphere, both citizens and the state. However, at the same time, the process of introducing public electronic services is fraught with a number of difficulties and challenges, primarily related to the legal aspect. The legal regulation in this area faces a need to take into account rapid technological progress, ensure the protection of citizens' personal data, ensure equal access to the services, and guarantee reliability and security of electronic systems. And the particular importance in this process is the problem of protecting information rights, which is in turn is quite difficult and multifaceted in this nowadays. There is a growing need to adopt national legislation providing in the regulating liability for violations and the improper use and the enforcement of the legislation in the field of public electronic services. Thus, the relevance of the research topic is due to not only the existing problems of providing public services, but also the rapid development in the information processes and the transition to a new level of development of society, which requires special attention and efforts to ensure more efficient and affordable provision of public electronic services. Which might be obvious, the object of our research is the legal regulations arising in the process of legal regulation of state electronic services in the Republic of Kazakhstan, including in the context of ensuring the security of the individual, state, society, and the national security as well. The subject of the research is the administrative and legal mechanism for the information provision of state electronic services and information security. The basis principles, conceptual framework, and functional components of state electronic services, information security, the problems of the formation of the information security of the Republic of Kazakhstan. So the main purpose of our dissertation, of our thesis, is to make a research on a comprehensive analysis of methodological issues which arise in legal provision of regulation of legal electronic services. A systematic and objective analysis of trends and patterns in the development of legislation in the field of regulating the provision of public electronic services. All of that may be possible only if we keep the information security and the infrastructure of our legal regulation on the related acts, which now has to be provided, which is very important. Our main proper system to provide electronic services is developed, and the main problem today we are going to say about the statistics of the eGov, which is about 3 million services that citizens of the Kazakhstan receive in e-way. So you may see on your screens. Could you please move to the next slide? Yeah, this one. Thank you. So you may see from the statistics for the last year, for 2025, it was issued a certificate on the absence and the presence of the real estate is about 1.5 million services. Attachment to a medical organization providing primary health care, which is about 105 billion services, and the certificate on criminal record, which is roughly 1,400,000 services. It shows us the information that the electronic services are quite required for our state and for our republic, because our people, the state, the citizens is actually using the e-services. But you may see from the statistics, from the numbers that it is required. But from our side, we have to maintain its legal regulation on the decent level, which makes us not only improvement, not only on the daily basis for the citizens, for the state, but even in the international level. So the next slide. This is our top tier goal. This is where we are going. You may see on the screen the top 25 and the top 15 countries which are leading in providing e-services. First of all, top 15 countries means the states where the electronic services provided the most. It means that the amount of the electronic services is rarely bigger than the services provided in the paper format. So the top 25 countries, it means the countries that provide these services not only digital, but with the best legislation norms and with the best legal regulation provided. So that is our goal, to be in this list. So we believe that Kazakhstan the next year, maybe 5 years, gotta be in this list as well. How we are going to achieve that, and this is about the first of our main provisions to become in this list. Is the first one. It's in our humble opinion, it is determined that public electronic services in the context of the information security as a complex and multi-phase phenomenon face diverse and interrelated problems covering technical, social, organizational, and political aspects. This determines the place and role of state electronic services and information security in the national security system of the Republic of Kazakhstan, as well as the process of implementing tasks from democratic rule-to-law state and open civil society and developed economic in the country. The second of our provision to achieve this goal is going to be that it is concluded that there is a need for a balance between digitalization and the government structures and the availability of information. Because in order to digitalize every service that we accept, every service that we are applied for through eGov or any other system, we see that we face a lot of vulnerabilities due to data leak, data security, information security. We face that our sensitive and the personal confidential information are being leaked, and we don't know the resources and we don't know the routes. The third provision is The main scientific conclusions have been developed on the expediency of identifying specific principles for providing public electronic services in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Such principles are going to be the principle of legality, society and the state, the principle of coordinating the activities of government agencies to improve their legal provision to public electronic services, and then last but not least, the principle of reasonable involvement of public organizations on monitoring these activities of the state. Finally, there are some of the last provisions that we are making. So it has been established that one of the critical aspects of the provision of public electronic services is to ensure a high level of protection of citizens' personal data. Technical and organizational security measures should be foreground. The study revealed the relationship between the analysis and the existence of emerging problems in the provision of public electronic services and taking into account the challenges and the changes in the technology or user needs. So based on these conclusions, we made our offers. First offer is to amend Code of Administrative Office Offenses, which is very known as Administrative Code of Republic of Kazakhstan. And the first is to introduce a new article on the responsibility of officials for unjustified refusal to provide services through a GOV, violation of deadlines, unlawful data protection. Also, we are offered the explanatory authority of the Commissioner for Human Rights in terms of protecting digital rights, the Prosecutor's General Office in the terms of overseeing the legal activities of GOV, and the Cybersecurity Center as an expert body for digital platforms and reviews. Also, we would like to introduce the law on the electronic public services, which will contain the main meaning of the public electronic services, which will include the digital inclusion, and there will be the duties of the state to ensure access and support for elderly people with disabilities, rural residents, and etc. So conclusion may be this. We're going to say about that. Of course, there is no doubt that the thesis of the dream of the legal regulation of the public electronic sources in Kazakhstan very important at first point. Recently, state obtained the law on the artificial intelligence, which is now providing the artificial intelligence agents to the YouGov systems, and which provides a lot of more leaks and makes the system even more vulnerable. So our position in this that any inner processes, any new processes, and all current processes should be legally regulated, and that this requires first our urgent action and our urgent attention. Thank you for attention.
Okay, thank you. Good presentation. Very interesting report. A.Ғ. Ғазизқызы conclude his report. Who has questions about the report?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It was very interesting speech because research topic today is very important in our country, and I have two questions. Firstly, tell me what is the information function of the state and its implications?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this is a very good question because the informational function of the government means the managing, the recording, and the saving of the shaping of national information security based on the legal acts, normative basis, and the principles.
And my second question, tell me, what is your main problem in our country for improve our electronic service in our country? Also, the main
Yes,
problem.
the main problem in the main gap is that the electronic services in the Republic of Kazakhstan is regulated with multiple normative acts and legal acts. So our proposal and our conclusion was to accept the one complex full national act based on the information security as a part of our national security, which is going to be accepted on the state level to obtain the national security through the legal services and the state's electronic services base.
In your opinion, this act decide all our problem, yeah?
Yes, we should admit that a lot of norms and a lot of actions in the e-services sphere is regulated by several acts, not only one complex act. We don't have one complex normative act which would be regulate the public electronic services as it is. So we had to struggle with several ones. So in our main conclusion is to accept one legal act which will regulate the processes of electronic services and the actions of the state bodies and the citizens regarding this process.
Thank you.
Any more questions, please?
May I?
Lütfen.
Thank you very much, Akjan Gaziz-Kızı. Your theme is really very interesting, and I suppose that your theme is one of the top themes nowadays in the science of jurisprudence and another science. So my question is, what because of the development of artificial intelligence, blockchain, big data, how do you think how all these things which I've mentioned can create challenges in the future, and how it's possible to stay the law flexible in such conditions?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Josara, and that's actually a very important question. You were totally right about that. Artificial intelligence will become more the participant of our human lives. So the first artificial intelligence, it may be like algorithmic capacities, bias, or the acts of law, the position of law here will be regulating the liability for automated decisions of the artificial intelligence, which should be absolutely, of course, regulated as well. So about the blockchain, I mean, I think there is a very important topic of the blockchain is immutability and the right to erasure this centralization of computations and the accountability of these systems, of these processes. Also, I think the legal regulation will help in consisting the big data, which is help us to prevent the privacy risks from our immigration and the interference. And the possible solutions here may be like the to create technology-based, technology like oriented, neutral principle, mandatory explainability, and the delegated parts from adapted rule management from the state bodies from the state to the citizens as well in the back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, please?
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I have a couple of questions. First question, how does your definition of state electronic services differ from traditional ones? And second question, how do you government services related to national security?
Mr. Ran, thank you for your question. The first about the traditional interpretation of the public services, we refer to the legal regulation on the public electronic services, which is the main act of the regulating public services in Kazakhstan. And our main thing and our commitment on this, our contribution is to fix the public electronic services as a main component of the national security based like in the territory of Kazakhstan but not limited to the territory of Kazakhstan. And this is causes your next questions like how public electronic services is related to the national security, fully related. Because nowadays, by preventing by entering of all the artificial intelligence, chat GPTs, and etc. for our lives, we face a lot of vulnerability and the threats. Most of them are the cyber threats, which is which leads to our data leaks, personal data leaks. So we strongly believe that the public electronic service is fully related to the national security of the Kazakhstan as the main holder of the information of its citizens.
I have a question. Which practical problems are most urgent legally and why?
Today, actually, the most important and the first point problem is the data leak that we should prevent. The data leak follows us to lose the first main thing, it's information. Information about people, their ages, their activities, their finances, their health, their insurance, and whatever, in all spheres of their lives. It's very important, and it actually relates to this things, and it's very urgent problem for now to legally regulate the providing of public electronic services.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, please?
I have questions, sorry.
Please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We know that A.Ғ. shows that topic which is very, very highly relevant in the world, not in Kazakhstan. That's why she had to explore a lot of information and literature review. And my question here, what is the key findings, difference of your key findings from previous studies in Kazakhstan, maybe in the world? My question is here.
Thank you very much for your question. It's totally clear. I understand now. Regarding the literature review and regarding the main difference what we made in our research, that the first time in the history of Kazakh science of law, the state electronic services are being researched and being expertized as a part of national security. Previously, a lot of leading authors and the researchers made this kind of research, but in the field of it would be like national security or whether it was the public services, and that's it. That was the main difference, that we are collapsing these two sides, because in our opinion, we strongly believe that the national security and the public electronic services are strictly crossed between themselves. And the main difference that I would say there would be this, that we are researching the public electronic services in the concept of the national security of the Republic of Kazakhstan.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Will there be any more questions? Enough? Thank you. Sit down. Excuse me.
Информация с ограниченными.
Да. Анна, спасибо вам большое за вопрос. На самом деле информация действительно на сегодняшний день является не только носителем наших важных жизненных ситуаций, но и имеет сейчас определенную классификацию, что касается именно ограниченных людей. Мы предлагаем совершенствование нашего правового регулирования в сфере доступности государственных электронных услуг для всех слоев населения. Раньше мы могли наблюдать, что более того, когда электронные услуги были не так развиты, сначала мы их получали в ЦОНах, то есть это могли бы делать люди, которые физически могут пойти в ЦОН, включить эту услугу, озвучить, какая им услуга нужна. В этой связи мы видим, что нужно повышать доступность электронных услуг для всех слоев населения. То есть первостепенно это, к примеру, пенсионеры, представители преклонного возраста, которые не обладают достаточной компьютерной грамотностью, чтобы зайти в интернет, зайти на ИКОФ и получить услуги. И в этой связи мы предлагаем для государственных органов определенный порядок мероприятий и процессов, которые нужно объявить и завершить для того, чтобы иметь возможность предоставлять услуги не только людям, которые обратились самостоятельно, но также всем уязвимым слоям населения. И в том числе сейчас эти услуги, они даже преобразовались в более такой формат, что сейчас существуют проактивные услуги, за которыми даже не стоит людям обращаться. И то есть должны быть границы между тем, что человек получает на автоматической основе, обращаясь самостоятельно, и также обращаясь для того, чтобы получить эту услугу с чьей-то помощью.
Will there be any more questions?
Enough, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, Sidan, please. The floor is now passed to the first domestic scientific consultant, candidate of law, associate professor of the Department of Theory and History for State and Law, Constitutional and Administrative Law, Federal Kazakh National University, Osmanlı Cemila.
Dear members of the Dissertation Council, allow me to provide a view of Duysenqul A.G.'s dissertations. The topic is indeed relevant in the context of the discussion of the draft digital code. In the process, building a democratic state, one of the main strategic objectives of modern Kazakhstan is the development, a state structure that meets international legal standards in the field human rights and freedoms, as well as integration in the global community. In this regard, implementation, constitutional principles and norms, the ideas of the constitution and values ensuring the right constitute a fundamental task. Today, information technologies are becoming increasingly important in ensuring provides public services to the population. Then analysis issues related to the legal regulation, state electronic services, and in Kazakhstan draws attention to state critical aspect is state security, accessibility services, and protection of citizens' rights. In the regard, the dissertation of Duysenqul A.G. is a particular scientific interest and provides sufficient ground to affirm that it addresses one most relevant topics of modern Kazakhstan. The scientific dissertation lays in the fact that for the first time in Kazakhstani legal scholarship, questions are raised and comprehensive scientific study is conducted of the theoretical problems and constitutional and legal support for state electronic services. And the information security, individual, society, and the state in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Yes. The novelty of the dissertation is also demanded by its relevance, scope, and practical significance, as well as by the absence of specialist analytical scientific research of legal regulation of state electronic services. And information security is a component of international security of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The dissertation research is effective by particularly comprehensive approach and independent reserving position regarding and the subject of study. The personal contribution of the candidate is reflected in the independent research, is accusation, discussion, and generalization of scientific results, which have been confirmed on the candidates' published works and in the proposals aimed at improving current legalization. The study has been carried out at a high theoretical and methodological level, possesses certain scientific and practical significance, and represents the outcome through research on given topic. The conclusions and proposals of the dissertation are well-founded and novel, and they may serve as a basis scientific research and improvement of existing legislation. The results are characterized the internal logical consistency and their achievement of research objective ensured through structure section of the dissertation. The practical significance of the work lies in possibility of ability its findings is legislative activity. The level of scholarly preparation demonstrated by the dissertation submitted for defense makes it possible to conclude that the research conduct and by Dүйсенқұл A.Ғ. on the topic legal regulation of state electronic services current problem it was improved. Something for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty AD 042/01 jurisprudence continuous and independently completed, private and comprehensive scientific work. The dissertation addresses key issues in the field state electronic services and makes a significant scholarly contribution to the development of fundamental theoretical problems under the current conditions of economic and state development in the Republic of Kazakhstan. In terms of topical relates as well as scientific and practical significance, the dissertation truly means the requirements of the rules of the awarding academic degrees applicable to doctor's dissertation and its author, the aware of being awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Ms. Hanna. Please. The foreign scientific assistant for the dissertation is Polskaya Olga Andreevna, Doctor of Law, Associate Professor, Professor of the Department of Civil Law Disciplines, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, who has provided positive feedback. The review will be presented by Alimpol People Timurhanlo. The text of the review is published on the KAZNU website and attached in the attestation file.
Thank you very much. Let me briefly introduce a review of foreign scientific consultant. The level of digital infrastructure and the information security of state institutions largely determines a country potential for development. Digitalization is one of most important and integral components of public administration. In particular, the digitalization of public services has been undergoing rapid development worldwide, having evolved into a complex system with diverse instruments, which in turn give rise to problems faced by society in the use of such services. The issues surrounding state electronic services are of particular relevance and directly affect the interests of the majority of Kazakhstan's population. The necessity and the importance of scientifically grounded, socially oriented, and economically justified reforms in the sector of public administration highlight the urgency of comprehensive approach to addressing these problems, especially in terms of improving the organizational form of functioning and the development of state electronic services. The structure of the dissertation, which consists of 3 chapters, is determined by the internal logic of the research and the apparel well funded. The first chapter addresses the general intellectual issues for studying constitutional and legal security in the context of the introducing and the use of state electronic services. The second chapter devoted to the concept, essence, and the current problem for state electronic services as an important component of information security. The final chapter provided an extended discussions of the current state of state electronic services as a structural element of overall national security and proposes possible ways to improve the system of state electronic services. Each of the chapters contains a thorough analysis of the legislation of the Republic of Kazakhstan relevant to the research topic. This lends credibility to the theoretical conclusions and practical recommendation formulated in the dissertation, which are marked by scientific novelty. The dissertation addresses and resolves a significant scientific problem for the Republic of Kazakhstan, namely the development of the state electronic services. The above allows us to conclude that the dissertation by Защита Дүйсенқұл on the topic legal regulation of state electronic services, current problems and ways to improve. Submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, meets the requirements established for research of this kind and may be recommended for defense. Foreign scientific consultant, Doctor of Law, Associate Professor, Department of Civil Law Disciplines, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Ploskaya.
Thank you, Mirbolt Mirkhanli. The floor is now given to first official reviewer, PhD in Law, Associate Professor Altınbasov Bakht Ömerkhanovich. Please, Bakht Ömerkhanovich.
Yes, thank you so much, Walikhan Mirza. Dear Chair, members of the dissertation committee, and dear candidate, I'd like to offer my assessment of the dissertation authored by Duysenqul A.Ғ. entitled Legal Regulation of State Electronic Services, Current Problems and Ways to Improve, submitted for PhD degree in law. It has been of great interest to examine the study devoted to such a timely and important topic. In my remarks, I'd like to provide an overall evaluation of the work, highlight its strengths, and offer some constructive comments. First of all, I'd like to emphasize the high relevance of the chosen topic, the legal regulation of state electronic services, and the provision of information security in an era of the today stands at the forefront of both global academic discourse and the priorities to the prioritize of government's activity, actively introducing digital technologies into public administration. The significance of this topic is especially evident in the context of Kazakhstan's state policy. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev has stressed the need to build an effective digital government, to develop the e-Gov platform, enhance transparency in the delivery of public services, and ensure the protection of personal data and citizens' digital rights. The modernization of public administration and the reduction of bureaucracy largely depend on the quality and accessibility of electronic services. In this regard, the dissertation not only reflects current challenges in a timely manner, but also corresponds fully to the strategic direction of the country, as outlined in the President's addresses and national digitalization programs. The dissertation is generally well written, logically structured, and demonstrates a deep understanding of the legal foundations of governing state electronic services in the Republic of Kazakhstan. I would also like to note that the work is presented in English, and undeniable advantages that broadens the potential readership and increases the international academic value of research. The author convincingly identifies a range of systematic issues, including risk of personal data breaches, digital inequality and accessibility challenges, technical failures and infrastructure limitations, legal gaps arising from rapid technological change, insufficient technical mechanisms for user feedback. These findings are consistent with international research on electronic government and accurately reflect the practical challenges faced in Kazakhstan. A practical strength of the dissertation is its practical orientation. The author proposed concrete and realistic policy recommendations, such as adoption of special law on state electronic services, strengthening digital rights protections, implementing stricter cybersecurity requirements, developing proactive services, supporting vulnerable groups, and enhancing the accountability of officials. These proposals have significant potential to improve public administration. It is also important that candidate links the development of electronic services with national security. In the context of growing cyber threats, the protection of governmental information infrastructure and citizens' personal data becomes a critical factor in ensuring state stability. The author demonstrates an understanding of these strategic dimensions of digital transformation. Despite the strong strategic scientific quality of the dissertation, allow me to offer several recommendations that, in my view, could further strengthen the research and enhance its academic competence. First, some of the literature used in this dissertation is outdated and does not fully reflect contemporary international debates. The latest models of digital government or the rapid technological advancement of recent years. Updating this theoretical framework with recent empirical studies and scholarly publications would reinforce the conceptual foundation and position the research more clearly within modern academic discourse. Second, several recommendations offered in the dissertation, although theoretically justified, may be difficult to implement in practice. For example, the proposal to introduce a new specialized law exceeds the scope of what can realistically be achieved within the single dissertation. Such initiatives typically require broad interdisciplinary analysis involving experts in law, cybersecurity, e-government, and public administration. Nevertheless, the very articulation of these ideas is valuable, and I hope the author will continue exploring them in further research and develop more concrete proposals in subsequent scholarly work. Third, the dissertation would benefit from an explicit discussion of research in limitations, acknowledging methodological, theoretical, or empirical constraints is a standard element of academic integrity and allows for clear understanding of the applicability of these findings, as well as the identification of directions for future research. Despite the remarks mentioned above, I would like to emphasize that the dissertation represents a mature academic study that successfully combines rigorous theoretical analysis with practical relevance. The author demonstrates the ability to work with complex legal and technological issues, formulate well-grounded conclusions, and propose constructive solutions. The research contributes to the development of legal scholarship and holds significant practical value for advancing digital public governance in Kazakhstan. I congratulate Akjan on completing a study of considerable national importance and wish her continued success in her future academic and professional endeavors. In my view, the dissertation fully meets the requirements of the award of PhD degree in law, and Akjan deserves to be granted this qualification. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Baht Amirkhanovich. The floor is now passed to the doctoral student to respond to the comments.
Baht Amirkhanovich, thank you very much for your fair concerns and questions raised. From our side, we can say that we totally agree with your recommendations and the comments that we will be emphasized on our next scientific works, because we are only now stepping into the big world of science, and you can have our word and the promise that this your recommendations will be fully and completely faced in our new research, new statements, and the new articles and works. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. The floor is now given to the second reviewer, candidate of legal science, Professor Polis Ogunel Vimerdanov Yerjan Malayevich.
Thank you, Professor. I would like to show my review for your attention. The thesis of doctoral thesis is legal regulation of state services. My conclusion as follows. Review. I am official reviewer on the dissertation work of Duysenqұл A.Ғ. on the topic legal regulation of state electronic service, current problems and ways to improve. Submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, and the education program D04203 to represent. Criteria. The topic of the dissertation at the time of its approval corresponds to the directions of scientific development and or government programs. The dissertation on the topic legal regulation of state electronic service, current problems, and ways to improve fully aligns with the priority area of the regulation of the economic and public administration. Criteria scientific importance. New York makes a theoretical contribution to the development of the plans of state regulation of digital public services, a new conceptual model of the regulatory field, and the Prioritization of regulatory defects are proposed, which expands the understanding of the interrelationships between interdepartmental data exchange, identification, electronic signature, and cybersecurity. The principle of independence. The Europe demonstrates a high level of independence in design and excellence. Principle of internal unity. The dissertation convincingly justifies its relevance by linking regulatory gaps and state e-services to Kazakhstan's digitalization's goals. It shows how better regulation will boost service accessibility, interoperability, and public trust, addressing urgent national policy needs. The content clearly reflects the dissertation topic by systematically analyzing regulatory issues in state electronic services in Kazakhstan, identifying current problems such as intervention, data exchange, digital identity, and signature, and proposing regulatory improvements. The aim and objectives align closely with the topic, focusing on identifying regulatory gaps in state electronic services in Kazakhstan and proposing concrete improvements. They specify analyzing emergency data exchange, digital identity, and signature, and assessing policy impact. The dissertation demonstrates from logical coherent sections that literature review methodology results and discussion are consistently linked with clear rational connected aims to findings and policy impressions for Kazakhstan's electronics development using uniform terminology and policy cross references. The authors propose new solutions are well fit will clear theoretical, rational, and clean alignment to Kazakhstan's digital governance needs. The regulatory principles and methodological innovations are evaluated against existing standards, showing added value while acknowledging practical implementation needs. The principle of scientific knowledge. The study demonstrates scientific knowledge by using a conceptual framework of a unified regulatory field for state electronic services and a systematic debate taxonomy. It integrates intergency data exchange, digital identity, and the signature into a coherent series with Kazakh context. The volume of scientific probability is about 75%. That concludes the work and novel theoretical contribution by articulating views, meaningful regulatory for state electronic service and autonomy of regulatory defense, potentials for federal standards. The technical and managerial solutions proposed are novel, well justified, including a unified regulatory architecture and data exchange norms tailored to Kazakhstan. They are grounded in empirical needs and benchmark against international standards with clear policy relevance and implementability. Later phase of the main conclusions. The conclusions delivers a novel theoretical contribution by articulating a unified regulatory field for state electronic services and a taxonomy of regulatory defects conscious for Kazakhstan. They integrate with policy elements supplemented by empirical insights and extends current intelligence. The main provision presented for defense. Thereafter, put forward 5 provisions for defense propositions. 1. Yes, the propositions has been proven is non-trivial and new. Wise, broad capability. Proposition 2. Yes, the conclusion is proven, non-trivial and new, is provide applicability. It clearly links each slide with information accessibility, highlighting the risk of exclusion. Proportion 3, yes, the main scientific conclusion R1 justified. The author develops a coherent set of principles for providing public electronic services and information security in Kazakhstan, legality, balancing the interests of citizens, society, and state comprehensive regulation, intervention, coordination, civil society involvement, data protection, international integration, and accountability. Proportion 4, yes, to proportion it well supported. Proportion 5 is the state clearly demonstrates substantive link between announcing existing and emerging problems in public electronic services and incorporating ongoing technology changes and new needs. This integration strengthens also theoretical framework and supports policy-oriented recommendations for user-centric service design and adaptive Kazakhstan. The principle of reliability of sources and provider information. The study demonstrates strong credibility using both distribution, peer-reviewed sources, and transport selection criteria. The results of the dissertation were obtained using modern models of scientific research, sophisticated data processing, and robust interpretation techniques, all implemented with computer technology. Theoretical conclusion models identified interrelationships and regularities are demonstrated and confirmed by empirical verification within pedagogical experiments with transport reporting of methodology, sample characteristics, and effect sizes. The research substantiates its key claims by citing up-to-date peer-reviewed literature alongside foundational theoretical views. The election of literature embeds complexity with systematic search strategies and includes criteria that capture key debates and methodological approach. The principle of practical volume, the dissertation offers solid theoretical volume by clarifying key contracts, defines a theoretical model, and integrating findings with establishing series. A dissertation demonstrated the high practical relevance by translating ideas into concrete practices for educators and administrators. The practical recommendations are pursued in 75%. Some guidance and focus establishes practices in curriculums and classroom routine, and while the study also provided a few innovative interventions and consequence approaches that extend existing methods into new settings, yielding special knowledge. Quality of rating and formatting, quality of academic rating of quality, high throughout the manuscript with careful attention to grammar, style, and formal convention. The process is praised, findings are clearly contextual, and language supports robust interpretation and critic in sequential communication. The decision of the official user is subject to award a degree of Doctor of Philosophy PhD or Doctor in the field, send the dissertation for revision, except for cases of defending the dissertation in the form of a series of arguments. Refuse to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy PhD or Doctor in the field. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Erjan Baevich. The floor is now given to the applicant.
Thank you very much, Jean, for your review and for your concerns in this review. We believe that your recommendations and the notes will enhance the importance of our work and will improve our skills and our next endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next stage of our meeting is the discussion. Who would like to share their opinion?
Thank you very much, dear Chairman. I would like to share with my opinion concerning the dissertation, legal regulation of state electronic services, current problems and ways of improvement. I think that this theme is very actual for today. It's one of, as I already mentioned earlier, it's a top themes which are very very necessary for our law, for our legislation, and for our science. So I think that Arjan Gaziz-Kızı, she made a good job. She her dissertation is very interesting, and it's very useful for our lawmaking bodies, of course, because her provisions are very useful. And I think that if she made a monography in the future, it would be useful not only for lawmaking bodies, but also for students and for future scientists. So I think that her dissertations was made on a high level, and that is why she's ready to be Dr. PhD. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Slovatna. Are there any other opinions?
We have one review from outside. I can read.
Okay.
Специальная лицензия на докторскую диссертацию Дүйсенқұл А.Ғ. на тему правовое регулирование государственных электронных услуг, актуальные проблемы пути совершенствования, представленная соисканием ученого доктора философии по специальности юриспруденция, представлена доктором юридических наук, профессором Ажане Жанной. В данной лицензии указано, что тема государственных электронных услуг находится в центре внимания государства, стремящихся к цифровой трансформации, повышению эффективности публичного управления и укреплению доверия граждан. Для Казахстана вопрос совершенствования правового регулирования его услуг напрямую связан с реализацией стратегических документов «Цифровой Казахстан», концепция правовой политики, национальная политика информации государства, госсектора, а также с требованиями конституционной информационной безопасности. Диссертационная работа Дүйсенқұл А.Ғ. посвящена исследованию проблем правового регулирования государственных электронных услуг в Республике Казахстан, а также разработке предложений по их совершенствованию с учетом современных тенденций цифровизации государственного управления. Работа выполнена на актуальную теоретически и практически значимую тему, отражающая приоритеты государственной политики в сфере цифровизации и развития электронного правительства. Актуальность темы обусловлена переходом Республики Казахстан к цифровому формату представления государственных услуг, что требует адекватного правового обеспечения, направленного на защиту прав граждан и обеспечение прозрачности деятельности государственных органов. В условиях реализации концепции «Цифровой Казахстан» особое значение приобретает разработка эффективных правовых механизмов регулирования электронных услуг. Далее здесь дается степень изученности системы и научная новизна. Указывается, делается анализ содержания диссертации и указывают политическая, фактическая значимость результатов, научная обоснованность, достоверность и полнота исследования. И в конце дается заключение, что диссертационная работа Дүйсенқұл А.Ғ. Правовое регулирование государственных экономических услуг, актуальные проблемы и пути совершенствования являются первым научным исследованием, обладающим высокой степенью актуальности, научной новизны и практической значимости. Полученные результаты вносят существенный вклад в развитие теории административного и процессуального права. Считаю, что диссертация полностью соответствует требованиям, предъявляемым к докторской диссертации PhD по специальности юриспруденция и может быть рекомендован к защите в диссертационном совете. Рецензент доктор юридических наук, профессор Жаксабаев Аджинджан.
Спасибо. Are there any more opinions? No? Then the floor is passed to the applicant. Please, Ağ.Ғ. Dүйсенқызы.
Dear Chairman of the Administrational Council of the National University, dear members, professors, and all the attendants. As I said before, first of all, I would like to thank you for attending to today's defense of my thesis. And we are feeling really grateful for this moment because it's very special for us, a very long-waited time. We believe that our scientific research will truly make a significant change in our legal legislation in the field of regulation of public electronic services, and will make its own commitment and a contribution to improve our legislation and to be of our state in the list of the developed, electronically developed countries. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Sit down, please. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, for the voting process, each member is required to participate in a separate ballot by using the link sent individually via email. We kindly request those who are not participating in the voting to step outside. 5-10 minutes. Please chat with you.
Do you mean I have to leave? No? Мен де шығу керекпін ба?
Сіз отыра беріңіз, сіз дауыс бересіз қазір.
Сізге сілтеме жібердік, дауыс беріңіз.
Members, dear guests, to announce the results of the voting, the floor is given to the academic secretary of the dissertation council, candidate of law, associate professor Birol Temirhanov.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Dear dissertation council, dear guests, let me introduce the result. The result of voting in the issue of the application of Duysenqul A.Ғ. was awarded to the degree Doctor of Philosophy PhD and with the educational program 8D0420 jurisprudence, 2 awards the degree of Doctor Discipline, 9 send the dissertation for the reason 0, send the dissertation for the degree 0, refuse to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy 0. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next step is to discuss the draft conclusion of the dissertation council and approve the qualification criteria of the dissertation. Qualification features of the dissertation. Number 1, description of the results of the dissertation.
1.2.
1.2?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, the novelty of the results of the dissertation.
New.
New 2.1.
2.1.
Number 3, the value of the results of the dissertation. 3.1 high. Number 4, the connection of the thesis topic with planned research.
4.3.
4.3.
Yeah.
Number 5, the level of implementation use of the results of the dissertation of applied importance.
5.2.
5.2.
Yes.
Okay. And number 6, recommendations for the wide application of the results of the dissertation of applied importance.
6.1.
6.1. Okay. Our resolution, based on the results of the public defense of the dissertation title, legal regulation of state electronic service, current problems and ways to improve, and the outcome of the secret ballot for 9 against 0, the council resolves to award Duysenqul A.Ғ. the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the educational program 8D04-201 jurisprudence. The decision of the dissertation council to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, to Duysenqul A.Ғ. in the educational program 8D04-201 jurisprudence is recommended to Al-Farabi Kazakh National University as the basis for issuing to correspondent order to approve the resolution of the dissertation council on Duysenqul A.Ғ. dissertation. The final word is given to applicant Duysenqul A.Ғ.
Thank you, the chairman, professors, the members. Dr. Mihailovich Sedaharovich, thank you very much for your attendance, for your attention to my thesis, and for your support. We're sincerely grateful for your opinions, for your reviews you made, and for your work today. This one is very special for us, and so I want to thank you for my main domestic consultants, to Jamilai's family, to my foreign consultant, and Olga Andreevna Plotskaya from Russia. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending today, and wish good luck as we mix scientific endeavors. As I said before, we are only stepping to the big world of sciences, and we're going to improve our skills and improve our theses, and we'll do our research better and better. Your recommendations only will enhance in our importance of our topic. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Sit down, please. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, we hereby declare the meeting closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, congratulations. On the,
Can we say something?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, Aghjan, well done, Aghjan. Well done. It's a good work and keep it up. I wish you all the best. I think in this case, I have some suggestions for our colleagues from Al-Farabi University. This topic, for example, this topic chosen by Aghjan is one of the hot topics today. You can initiate some research projects maybe, and we can join this project and work together. Because this year we have submitted 3 articles to Q1 journals close to this topic about using AI in higher education. That's why we can connect and work on common topic, I think. Okay,
Thank you.
colleagues, thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Vakht Amirhanovich.
Thank you. Okay.
Sayımız aramızda
Olsun.
olsun.